Hey everybody, thanks for tuning back into Michigan Ambush Outdoors for this week's video. This week we're going to be doing a product review on this new fletching jig that I picked up. This is the Bohning Helical Fletching Jig. They do offer this in two different types of configurations. They offer it in a helical with a 3-degree and then also a straight. Keep in mind when you're buying this jig, you have to select the specific model that you want. It does not come with both fletching clamps. So you're either going to get the straight or you'll get the 3-degree helical. So with this jig, I was able to successfully fletch about a half dozen arrows. You can see here that this is fletched with the 3-degree right helical. I did end up throwing a custom Michigan Ambush Outdoors wrap on here. This is about a 6.5-inch flow green wrap, which I really like how these arrows turned out. I really like the look of them. I did use just the standard blazer vane. I went 2 green, 1 black to kind of just offset the color. But the main reason for the video today is just to kind of show you guys how easy it is to use this jig and how easy it is to fletch an arrow and get it set up. So I already got a bare shaft prepped and ready to go, so we're going to quickly shift over to here and I will show you guys how to fletch an arrow. Another thing that we're going to talk about in today's video is what I like and what I dislike about this jig. So if you guys are interested in hearing my opinion on it, stay tuned to the end of the video and we'll talk about that quickly before I let you guys go. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. As I mentioned, I got a cleaned arrow shaft here. Make sure that you guys are cleaning your arrows before you're fletching it, because if not, you're not going to have good adhesion with your glue. Now, the glue that I am using is actually a Loctite glue. I really like this glue. I've had good success with it. It will definitely stick to a carbon, and it sticks really good to these wraps that I picked up. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and fletch this arrow. So what I like to do is I just like to position this with my nock facing up. And what that does is that's going to be my cock vane. So the first thing, and like I said, make sure before you do this that you're reading how to prep these arrows properly before you fletch them, and then if your vanes require any prepping or any priming. The Bohning vanes did not call for any prep work before you put glue on it, but I did take like a mineral oil, cleaned all the excess glue off from when I had my 4-fletch, and then I used some alcohol and I wiped these clean and let them dry. So now that we got the arrow prepped, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the jig and I'm going to place a vane in it. Now, this piece of tape here is just to help kind of keep your plastic clean of any glue. They do offer replacement tapes that you could put back on. You can see it was a little tough getting in there, but we got it in there. But they do offer replacement tapes on the website. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my glue, and what I like to do is just do about 7 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And a little glue goes a long way when you're fletching. You don't want to have glue just squirting out the sides. And then I just basically rub that through, make sure I get all the air bubbles out. And then from here, you're going to hold your arrow, make sure it doesn't move, and then just pop this on. And then what I like to do is I like to put pressure on the arrow. I don't know if you can see that, on the arrow and on the clamp, just to make sure I get a solid hold or it's a solid adhesion to that shaft. So we're going to wait here for about 30 seconds. I'm going to fletch this arrow with no cuts to the video, just so you guys can see how easy it is. So if you guys want to fast forward to the end of this, you can go ahead and do so. Well, that's about 30 seconds, so we'll go ahead, pop this off, and go ahead and rotate this. So now you'll hear this click. So now it's set to the next location. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and, like I said, the white is going to be my cock vane. So the next color that I'll use is I'll grab one of these black ones here. saving my green ones because I didn't get a lot of those in a pack, and I don't use white, so I'm not afraid to mess those up. But again, we'll just do seven drops of glue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Run that glue up, get rid of all those air bubbles. And if you see where there's somewhere where you don't have enough glue, don't be afraid to go in and throw another dab in and spread that out. And now what we'll do is, again, hold your arrow, place this jig on the back. Oh, I'm losing the vane, so lock that down in there. And again, apply pressure to the arrow and the clamp, and just wait about 30 seconds. Alright, that should be good enough. I'll pop that one off, and again rotate this and you'll hear that click. That one you didn't hear. There you go. So now it's ready for the next vane. Again, take this, slide your next vane in, and you're just going to repeat this process. Again, I'm doing this with no cuts to the video, so if you want to skip forward to the end, you can gladly do so. I'll show you how this arrow turned out. But we're just going to go ahead and add our glue again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Spread this glue out, get rid of those air bubbles. Looks like we need a little bit more. Like I said, a little glue goes a long way. Hold that vane this time and just pop that on. Apply pressure to the clamp and the arrow. It gets a little trickier when you start to get more than 2 vanes on there. When you got 3 or doing 4, you got to watch where you're placing your fingers. But apply pressure just to make sure you get a good adhesion. Wait 30 seconds. And this arrow is going to be ready to rock. Like I said, this is a 3-degree right helical. They do offer another configuration where you can get a straight clamp. For whatever reason, they do not offer, that clamp does not come with this but there you go. That's how easy it is to fletch this. I got a little bit of excess glue, so what we'll do, so what I usually do is I like to keep Q-tips around just so I can clean off these arrows as I'm fletching them. But that's it, man. That's how easy that is. Okay everyone, so this is the finished product. As you can see, that took about 9 minutes to fletch this arrow, and this is the finished result. So we got a right helical with a 3-degree offset. So you know, it was a super easy process, and my vane placement is super consistent with this jig. Now, as promised, I'm going to talk about some of the pros and cons with this jig, so we'll kind of go ahead and dive into that. So the first thing, without a doubt, the best thing about this jig is the price point. For 39 bucks, you really can't beat it. For someone who, you know, like myself, that has never fletched an arrow before, you know, not sure if it was something that I wanted to do consistently going forward, you know, 39 bucks is a pretty small investment out of pocket to get up and running. Another thing that I really like about the jig is that it does give you the ability to kind of customize your setup a little bit by offering 2 different backing plates that allow you to run this in a 4 fletch configuration. So that's another super cool feature about it. What I really dislike about this jig is you do not have the ability to place your vanes farther forward. And for me, that's a real problem because I get a lot of facial contact with the way that I wear my facial hair. Now you can see that when I set up this arrow here, if I line these up, these are actually placed pretty significantly forward compared to the standard setup. But how I did that, or how I achieved that, is I actually had to place a toothpick right here on this and use masking tape to tape it down, so I got consistent vane placement. For me, that was really the only way to ensure vane placement was consistent and move these forward. So that's a really big downside, or a really big con in my opinion. The next thing that is really upsetting was that you can only run this in a right degree helical or straight. You cannot run this in a left helical. Some of their other jigs, they do give you the ability to run a straight fletch, a right helical, or a left helical, but keep in mind you still cannot consistently place these forward without making some type of modification to the jig. Now, if you're someone who can run this fletch in this placement and not have any problems, then 100% I would recommend this. But for me, it's just not something that would probably work long term. So, but for someone, you know, for some other people out there, I'm sure that this jig works flawlessly for them. Like I said, it's super user friendly. It's easy to get up and running with. And for a beginner fletcher that's not looking to spend a lot of money, it is really a good investment. It's just, like I said, me personally, not being able to move these fletchings forward and not being able to run left helical is really kind of a deal killer for me. So anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. The video next week, we're going to be talking about how you decide whether or not to run a right helical or a left helical. So if you guys are interested in learning a little bit more about that, make sure you guys tune in to next week's video. We'll dive into that a little further. But as always, thanks for watching. We greatly appreciate your support. If you guys haven't already subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so. Click that bell notification, and we'll make sure we see you guys on the next one.